Hey guys, it's the last episode of season 1 for WGN's Underground recap right here at AFTERBUZZ TV. It's called The White Whale. We've got so much to talk about. Stay tuned right here on AFTERBUZZ TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The buzz is the same.
Look at those words.
Okay, so we still don't know the words, and we are
I knew the first two lines.
That does not account for
I've
anything.
seen days.
Why you have to sing it like that, though?
like you were always.
Gary should sing
Why?
my eye.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of WGN's Underground, season 1, episode 10, The White Whale. It's over, you guys. It's an amazing season. I'm one of your hosts, Megan Thomas, at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat, whatever. Find me. Who are you, sir?
I am Gary Thomas on Instagram, Snapchat, everything. I am GaryThomas.com, of course.
I'm Lina Green at Just Lina Green on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook. Don't go on my Snapchat. It ain't for everybody, y'all.
That joint needs to be private, then, okay?
Look, it ain't for everybody.
I'm Jamie Banks, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JamieBanks_.
Okay, you guys know what time it is. One word to wrap up this
Crazy.
episode. Crazy.
Boom.
Heart racing.
Exciting! I think this, to me, probably was my favorite episode, just because there were so many moments.
Yeah. And
Right?
there were so many, like, things that you couldn't guess that was going to happen.
Right.
And it just happened, you know?
Definitely. I feel like I knew it was going to be big just because it's the last
Right,
one of
of
the
course.
seasons.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start talking about Ernestine.
Ernestine.
Steen. Yo, listen. Who I got to call to get Steen an Emmy nomination?
Right. And Vera Vaughn needs an Emmy nomination. We got to sign that petition for
For
sure.
your consideration.
She definitely
Yes.
does. You know, like, she just has completely amazed me this whole show. And, like,
Right,
it's completely,
right.
like, reeled me as a fan. And just, she's really incredible.
Yeah.
For faux show. So she's, the episode starts off, she's praying. I immediately when she's praying, it was one of those like, Lord, keep me from beating the brakes off of this mother. Like, it was one of those. I was like, oh, she about to fight somebody. She about to do some damage, because it was one of those prayers. You know what I'm saying? And Tom starts confessing to her that, he's like, oh, Tom Macon's not even my real name, which everyone knew, but he's just like,
She knew.
I'm Senator Tom Macon. It's not my real name, but I'm the coward Tom Hawks.
He's such a coward.
And he tries, it's so twisted because he's trying to apologize to her for lynching her son.
It's basically like, it's a power thing. He knew that his power ultimately would make her have to forgive him, even though he may have felt some sort of pain. But ultimately, it's a power that he knew she had to forgive him.
I feel like he was just trying to make himself look like a victim in this. And it's like, you
Right.
killed her son. There's no way. He's
Victimizing.
like, oh, I can't sleep. I can't eat. She was looking at him like, okay, are you done? I could tell she was going to do something.
Right, you
like,
killed one of my
I
kids.
could tell.
One of my kids was running away. You put one of my other kid in the fields. Like,
Right.
Yeah, it was
Right.
weird he was trying to be so coupley with her. And then when he asked her to go to Washington, it's like, what do you expect? Like, can you just bring, she can't just bring a slave there and then she can't be your girlfriend in Washington.
Yeah, that's
It
what
was
He
just
said,
weird.
he said there's clubs.
private
There's
club.
private clubs.
In private.
Still.
She can be there in
Yeah.
private with him.
Very
So they can have
strange.
this life together.
I notice his character is very delusional in ways
Right.
because he convinces himself things that are not true.
Like they're really in love. That's the
Yeah.
crazy part. Oh, we're so in love, and it's just we need to get away from here so that we can love.
so
Say
that
love,
we can
boo.
start our lives over. And it's
Say
like,
love.
and she's looking like, I love her face the whole time. She's like, okay, I mean, he don't know
Right.
I'm coming for him.
just the amount of pain and suffering just behind her eyes, you knew it was just like revenge. This is Ernestine we're talking about. Like, to expect that she was not going to get
Exactly.
revenge was like,
The
come on, you got to be crazy. You haven't been watching the whole season.
Yeah, funny you said that. You know how I was talking about how she carries herself when she was proud and stuff, and then did you see the way she was walking around?
Yeah.
After
Kind of
all
a
that
little bit of
stuff is
frown.
wearing on her and stuff, and she couldn't even really like walk. She was just dragging herself. I love all the stuff she does is just amazing. Like she uses physicality a lot in her acting. It's really great.
Yeah. And then, and you see that she's doing a little bit of confessing herself. She talks about Pearly May.
That's crazy.
And she says to him, because of what I did to Pearly May.
Dang, I know she was gonna say that.
But at this point, she's like, we confessing. What you gonna do? You gonna put me in jail for it? No, you're not gonna put me in jail
It's
for
crazy.
this.
I thought he was gonna be like, oh, I can't believe.
I thought that too, but part of me is like, she was confessing, but she was also warning him. This is what I will kill for my children, and you killed one of mine.
Right.
You should probably be watching your back. This is why I'm telling you a story, because I really ultimately know you're not going to do anything.
He really wasn't even that surprised, too, when she said she killed Pearly May.
He said, like, you did what you had to do for your kids. So you thought you were an exception?
He was like, you killed me. What'd you do?
Darn, Pearly May gone.
Well,
that part was
another one bites the dust. Like
that part was kind of steamy for me too.
It was a little steamy.
At the end, I was like, "Who has been a while for me?"
I know you're a little deprived, honey.
Well, she said, I'm going to kill you. I might as well give me a little taste before you go.
He was like, "Let me make you feel better." I was like, "Oh."
I just felt like Monsters Ball right there. I just was like, I don't want to see this. It just was so.
I just want to make it feel good.
I know
it makes it feel good.
So uncomfortable.
The corners he backs her into, and just like
And then so we see that they have a moment. He's outside. He's in the carpenter shop. He has little James, and he's like telling him like, "Yeah, you're gonna be good at this, all this stuff." And no one's told little James that Sam is never coming back. And it stings and pains me when James says, "Oh well, I want to go to the city, and maybe I'll be good enough to go there one day, just like my brother." And Ernestine hears this. That's enough. At that point, I was like, she definitely gonna kill him. She has to kill him because it's kind of like, I want to end up like my brother.
That was so sad.
Right. Poor little baby. Nobody told him.
I think that was a breaking point for Ernestine. She was like, you know what?
You're not gonna do this
You going
again.
down for that. You ain't finna get away with that. And I guess she didn't want that to happen to James. So it's like, dang. Shoot, I wouldn't want to be.
I don't even know necessarily if she was thinking about James anymore. I think she
What?
really was like.
What do you
she
mean?
Is, like the fire is just like, you know how sometimes you get blinded by your anger.
But I think that's where it comes from, is because you see her, she's praying over her child at the very beginning, and you also see that she's in the end. So this is all she has left that she knows of. Rosalie's gone.
Because I mean, she knows that what she's gonna do is gonna affect him. I know she's thinking about him, but I'm just like, she so driven by anger, she didn't think to
and
stop.
revenge.
Stop to like, let me save him. Like she saved everybody else. She's like, I have to get this revenge, and I just hope that it doesn't affect him.
Right, because I think now things are going to get a little bit worse for poor James. We see that Ernestine and Tom are having a drink, and he's telling her about this fantasy. So we leave tomorrow. He's
Did y'all all think she was poisoning him?
Yeah.
I thought
it was
I was like, oh, another Pearly May incident.
She was so calm. It was just like this calmness. She was like,
And then wait, who was okay? So then we see that Tom gets picked up by that rope and is lynched. Who was the guy?
The tongueless guy.
It was
the
mute guy.
Oh, the
preacher's
butler guy.
Yep.
y'all saw his face? Did we able to see it?
I didn't
see
see
his
it.
body a little bit.
Well, I think she knew who her partner in
talk.
crime. He can't talk one, and she knew who her partner in crime was because
What'd she do?
he has had his tongue cut out. So he knows that type of revenge. He wants it. So I don't think he was. I think he was willing to help her.
How do you know that?
Because Ernestine is manipulative. She knows she knows how to find the ones that are scorned enough to come and do what she wants.
Ernestine.
And it's interesting that she pretty much eliminated her key person she manipulates. I mean, that's like a key player that was protecting her family.
Right, and I don't think she thought about that, which is a good point that you brought up, Gary, was because she was so blinded by revenge. She was like, I'm going to get him, but the other side of this was now you have nobody protecting you.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of your protection because now Susanna is like coming for your throat.
But the funny thing is, Susanna wasn't coming for her throat for anything that we ever thought. Anything we ever believed.
I mean, we kind of knew.
No, we knew. We could see that there was jealousy.
I'm just saying she was the reason she was overall jealous. We see is because of the one thing that was hers still wanted her. She didn't care about the husband. She didn't care about him sleeping with.
No,
she didn't care
we
about
knew
him.
about that because remember when what episode? I can't remember what episode it was, but we were talking about that how
the way she looked.
The way she looked when her son was like saying something to Ernestine, and she was just kind of like,
yeah.
This is the foreshadowing they do. Like you gotta pay attention to the Misha and Joe. What they write.
Yes. Shout out to the creators of the show. So then, we see they're all dressed up. I was like, I guess they're going to the funeral for Tom's alleged suicide. And I love how she staged it, too. She knocked the chair over, took his arms, unwrapped his arms, made it look like a suicide. And I'm thinking they're going to the funeral, but I was like, why is Ernestine so dressed up?
And why was she in the carriage with her? And like, it was a lot of questions. Then you see why she's dressed up and why she's going in a carriage.
But it didn't look like she knew what she was there for. Do you think Ernestine knew when she was in the car? No.
She just was, I guess not. She hasn't really been off the plantation.
And for her to say that, like, she's going to take James in and raise him as her own is that really, like, beyond, I think she understands that Ernestine doesn't care about getting sold, but her child is everything to her. So to take her kid and raise it as her own, that was like
I know because that's her last motivator. That's her last, to her knowledge, her last baby.
And she'll probably be an evil mom too. Or do you think she'll?
I think she'll be.
I think she's gonna be fine now. I think she really wants the kids, but she knows this is the main way to get back to Ernestine.
Right. So I'm gonna get her son to love me. I'm gonna treat him like he's my baby. So he'll call me mom.
Like my kids did hit her.
Yeah. Right. That's so messed up, yo.
Yeah, her character is really messed up. It's like
I'm like, that was like the shocker for me. She killed him.
But I think let's not leave out what she said though, because Susanna says, we've all had our dalliances. When she said that, I was like,
she had her a stable boy.
She was like this. There was a little
when I was Mary's age, I was like,
incident with a stable boy, and she's like, she's thinking about him like.
But that one incident doesn't compare to the huge love affair between Ernestine and Tom. Like that's like not just a one thing.
I don't think she cared about her
I think she was more saying like, that's no big thing. I know there's been some coldness between us, but it wasn't because of my husband, because I've done my own dirt.
She's like, I don't care that you slept with him. I don't
and that you had kids.
But I do care that the one thing that was mine wants you.
But how could you, and that's just the messed up part of this, because it's not like Ernestine made those kids love her. Like, you put your baby in Ernestine's arms to nurture. What do you want her to do?
She, like, births most of the babies on the plantation.
Right. You make her take care of your children. What do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, such a
take care of your own kids, okay? Stop hiring nannies.
We saw that TR was under Ernestine's clause a long time ago. He lies for her, just for a couple little candy.
Exactly. Okay, so then last episode we saw that Rosalie and Noah made it to the Hawks' home, and so they're talking about how now it's a free for all. All the slave catchers are loose. They're looking because they know the Macon 7 have crossed over and they're this close to freedom.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like these alliances that they form. I really like Elizabeth and John Hawkes. They're some of my favorite characters in this show.
Elizabeth, definitely. She has this fierceness.
It's just so crazy because, like, no one expected this.
Exactly.
Because, the blogs, like I told you guys before when I was reading before the show started, like, the blogs, like, down their characters. Like, this is, like, such a dumb storyline. Nobody was really into it.
Right.
But look how it's developed and people are, like, really paying attention.
And stuff. Yeah.
The writers are genius. They had this all planned out.
Right. So then Noah says, he has a conversation with Liz and he says, I if I were you, I wouldn't do this. Like, I don't know how you do this.
I wouldn't do it.
And she's like, you crossed 600 miles. And so this is the first time we're actually hearing about, how long, like how many miles it was. We never really thought about it, but 600 miles.
You ran 600 miles, like,
Right. That's absurd.
It's crazy they made it.
And I love how he's like, I had to. That was something I had to do. Freedom, that was my only driven motivation. Right. Yeah. So Elizabeth is I love her. Like, she connects very well. Yeah. Like, her just reaching out. Like, it's more than just the job, her helping him. She really has her heart in it.
Right.
Like, she really does care.
And I love that she wasn't really sure. She said she wouldn't know if she'd do it again, and Noah's like, I see the way you look at Boo. And that was really sweet. She really does see her as a daughter.
Yeah. She would do anything for that baby. And so then we also see that Rosalie and John are outside digging, which I was like, why would Noah be out there?
That's what I was like. Weird. Noah up in the house.
You took that thought out of my head. Like, Noah, what you doing in the house? Like, chilling. Like,
why are you in there chilling? And why is Rosalie out there digging?
I mean, I guess they say that one man with one woman, one man with the other woman to protect, her out there.
He took her in the house.
But maybe they were planning for the big distraction. Maybe he was already.
We ain't really seen Noah do no real work, y'all.
But that was at night too.
Yeah,
it was at night.
It was just a little. I still don't understand why.
It was a good scene with them two talking because we know that they're related, and so it was a good scene to see them bond.
I know, but still, I wish we would have had a little conversation as to why Rosalie had to go out there to dig this hole.
And he's sitting up there talking.
Right. Like rock paper scissors, this doing it or what? Like,
right.
But of course, they had to set it up so she could find out the news.
Exactly, and so she talks to John, and he tells her, she says something that she's like, "How do you guys turn out so different?
Yeah,
the same family. One helps slaves, one owns them. Mm-hmm. But that's true. That's in every family. I think you look at siblings, and you're like, how did you turn out this way, and you turn out this way, and you grew up in the same household?
Yeah,
I mean, everyone chooses their own path, right?
I mean, he started down that path, but he made a choice. He chose his wolf.
He chose the opportunity.
Right.
And that's the recurring theme, making choices. And it's like August made a choice. Like everybody's making choices, and it's going to affect their lives down the road.
Right. So then, of course, John tells Rosalie about the news about Sam, that he's no longer with us. And she's really sad, and she's in the tub, and Noah comes in there and they have a little touching moment. I want to tell y'all this. When I saw this and he was like washing her back, which by the way, he wasn't really washing her back. If you notice, he had this dry washcloth that he was like, I was like, first of all, you need to dip that in some water.
Right.
Put some soap on it. You'll wash my back.
Right, let's really get to a little circular motion going. Let's get
I was like, that washcloth is dry. Come on.
I was laughing when she was like, when he turned around to leave because he was like embarrassed to see her naked, okay? And then she was like, don't leave. He was already in the door.
He was quick to
He already had a toe in the bathwater, y'all. Like, he was never going anywhere.
And as he's like washing her back and the music's playing and they start kissing. You know what pops in my head? Love in the tub, love in the tub. Not love in the club, but love in the tub. I was like, this is so crazy. But, so then they have a touching moment. They're in the bed, they're talking, and Noah says, he talks about freedom, and I had to write this down. He says, about freedom, do we deserve it? They're acting like, is it something that we deserve? It's ours. Yeah. It's not something that we deserve. It belongs to us already. And that's such a different way to think. That's a motivator right there, because all these people, they're saying you shouldn't be free, and he's like, no, it's already ours. So there's no reason why.
Y'all are confused. Like, what are you talking about? We're all free people. What are you talking about? And that's crazy that he has to explain that. And we even see that in the scene where he goes to the jail and he's asking, what do you want?
Right.
Well, this is what I want.
I want a last name. I want a life. I want to be looked at as human.
I got to spell this out for you? What do you mean what I want? I want to be human.
I can't give you that.
He looked at him like it was such a crazy thing. It's so crazy to want to be treated as a human being and be a free human being.
I mean, that's a common thing in today's world, period. It's like a crazy idea that your waiter is human or the person behind the cash register is a human being. Stop disrespecting people when you go out. Let's talk to people so you can get results. Like, that's not something that's ever going to change unless people change their mindset. Look, we need to respect people because we're all human beings. Your heart beats like mine. You got the same blood that I got.
It's been a hard day.
It's been a hard day for you. He on his soapbox today, baby.
I always say if aliens came, that's the only how human beings would all like come together and be like, you bleed blood? You're red blood too? Okay, we all humans. We gonna fight those aliens. I don't know why that voice came out.
And Rosalie says something that it gives a little bit of foreshadowing. She says, none of us are free till we all free. So at that moment, I was like, what she mean by that? Which is true. I mean, you want to go live free, but how can you go live freely? And then you're thinking about your poor little baby brother who is still in captivity.
Yeah.
Your mom.
It's always going to haunt you that you left people behind.
Right.
I don't think you've seen with Rosalie's character, I don't think she's the type of person that could just forget about everything she's seen and been through. Like, this has been a journey. We followed this journey.
Right.
So I don't think she could have just
She's the one who's
been
like
happy.
Right. She's the one who's like constantly changing. And growing, you know.
Yes, yes. So then they decide that they're going to have I guess this is what they're going to do to make a distraction to get rid of, some of the heat that's on the Macon 7. Noah and Liz go to the Marshal station, right where they're looking for all these slaves, and
they said that's where they are. We got to get them out to confuse everybody out there, because they'll be running after everybody. Because you saw, so they walked in, they said, "Oh, they told me they wanted the Macon 7." So obviously they don't even know what the Macon 7 really look like.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. And so then he goes into the Marshal station, and he has this great speech about just what you were saying, which is the basics that he wants in life. He just I want a last name. I want a fair wage. I'm like,
he asked him.
If I work a hard day's work, you need to pay me for it.
Man, still asking for some of these things. Like, wait a minute. Okay. And so then, of course, he lets all the slaves out, and I love it because it's really one of those Django moments. He's like, he gives them the guns. He's like, you guys go shoot them because they're going to shoot you.
I love how Elizabeth is the whole time she's playing alone. She's like, oh.
She's taking all the guns.
Well, don't you?
She's being very strategic in her field. She's like moving all the guns away from the white people.
Yeah, I was wondering if she was going to
putting the letters
join
in there
and shoot them at any point, but then that would blow her cover.
Right, for sure. And so, we hear him say something, and he's like, when you guys if you get in trouble, ask for this guy. And I was like, who's he asking for? But then we find out later who it is, and it's Kyle, who is a marshal who's been missing because he's been in the Hawks home. And we find out that they were also digging underneath his house to make it look like a hideaway.
Yeah.
So they set this up perfectly.
Yeah.
I feel like it was brilliant, and especially now they have the law on their side, so they can actually kill Kyle.
Right.
And they won't get in trouble. That's brilliant and evil. But awesome.
But here's the one thing I had a question about. If they were going to kill Kyle, because, at this point, the slaves were like, well, I need to ask for this guy. Why wouldn't they just kill him and then, bring it out in the open? We killed him because we knew he was harboring slaves. Why did Liz and John push him into the river?
To keep their hands clean or something, because they already have attention on them. That'll be extra attention.
Right.
They killed a slave, and if it does come out that they did were harboring slaves, then that would be extra on them too. It's like,
I know. I was just like, okay, because now if you watch this up,
maybe if his body turns out, we have a reason to have killed him. If he doesn't, we just don't say anything.
Someone had a reason to kill him, or they could have made it look like someone else could have killed him because he was harboring. So all the slaves are telling them that it was Cal.
Because even if he comes up dead, nobody's gonna care. He's like, well, he was a slave, harbor.
True.
So
True indeed. Yes. And so we also see at this time that now that all the slaves are running free, all these slave catchers are trying to catch them. Noah's trying to get back to the house, and he has a moment that he faces, kind of like the moment he faced with Cato. Do I run or do I help? And this time he chose to help.
Because that boy reminded him of Henry.
Probably so, for sure.
He was a young boy.
Yes, and so the boy gets away. He tries to fight the man that was about to shoot the boy, and who shows up? Patty Cannon.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that she's a woman.
We've been waiting to see her.
Right, and I'm glad she's a redhead. For some reason, I was like, that's what I thought you looked like,
she was gonna be a redhead.
Right.
Patty.
Right. She's like a Western,
Did you guys know she was a woman before this?
Yeah,
they always say
Because they talked about her.
They always say her, Patty.
Okay, I I just thought it was a man for some reason.
No, they keep
Jamie, you weren't listening.
Patty, okay.
And they would say she.
Patty Gay.
Yeah, they would say she and her a lot.
Okay.
Referred to her as well.
She wants her money. Patty don't play with the numbers. All that stuff.
All of that stuff. And so she finally catches up to Noah. She knows who he is. And she talks to him and she says that she needs a name. She needs a name.
She was never really after the Noah. Like, she wanted him, but...
She was.
She
did
was,
send
but
her.
at this point she knows, like, okay, I'm going to get a base, like, barely anything. If for him, I'll get way more since I've gone through all this. I've lost all these men, all this time. But let me just go for the big prize. Let me just get Rosalie.
I think she wanted revenge, too. I think she wanted August.
Really?
I think she wanted to at least get her revenge. And, like,
well, how did she know?
She was like, if I happen to run across the Macon 7... okay.
No, I think she wanted the Macon 7. That's her moneymaker right there.
I'm sure it was, but I think she knew that August would be there too after he killed her men.
And I want to know know how she knew that August killed the men, because if they're all dead, then who was there to tell?
Someone probably saw it. There's always someone
Who else killed them?
Yeah, and who else would have killed
Who else
him?
killed him?
I guess
It could have been the slaves. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I was like, that end was not tied up, writers. We didn't find that out. We need to know who that is.
Listen, don't come from my homegirl Misha like that.
I'm not coming for that.
She
I'm
ain't
just saying
sent
that-
for you, okay?
We love you.
I was gonna tweet. I didn't send for you,
Bad
Meg.
kid.
So don't come for me.
At Meg Scoop,
But I was-
Misha.
I was-
At Meg Scoop.
I was really thinking that. I was just like, well, how did she know that August even killed the dudes if they were dead?
I feel like there's always someone around to see things, and he killed one of the guys right in the open. And then he disappeared. So, I mean, just 2 and 2. He was working with them, then he disappeared. And then she tracks him here. And so something had...
And they,
I don't know, guys.
By the time that they were died, everyone had already known the Macon 7 had already gone off.
I don't know, guys. I'm just saying. That
Let
wasn't
us know if
spelled
you guys
out
know
for
the
me.
answer.
And Mexico.
Yes, make sure you use the hashtag UndergroundWGN, and we can see all of your tweets. Lena's looking up at your tweets today,
Yes,
so if
I
you have
am.
anything, she'll shout you out.
Right,
Faux
like,
show.
yeah, those about those tweets, y'all.
Yeah, so then since we're talking about August, let's talk about him. He says that Ben needs surgery. We thought he was dead.
Oh, I'm so
We're
glad.
so glad little
Yes.
Ben needs surgery. He's probably never going to walk again, but at least he's alive, you know?
Yeah.
And at this point, you know, August goes from wanting to save Rosalie because, you know, he's like, we can't hurt her. You know, we've got to bring her intact back to her owner. Now he wants to kill her slowly, and
Just
Jeremiah is the one who wants to save her.
But my thing is like, because he wants the money, but it's
Right.
like, you want to kill her because he crippled him?
Well, I mean, that's
that's
his
pretty,
son.
yeah.
That's he's been doing all of this for his son, so that his son can have a home.
No,
and now,
but you found out you were rich. You kept your son there, so it's your fault.
But do y'all remember him saying that he needs to get the money? So
it wasn't about, at that point, he was like, I'm a man of my word. I told you that I would help you find the rest of these slaves, so I'm going to help you find these slaves, and when we out. So at this point, he wasn't really concerned about the money. He's like, we have money.
well, he did ask for money from. He needed the money to
That's
get the
because he needed it right now.
Okay.
Versus, you know.
Oh, that was his ploy.
You think?
Talking about the letter from.
So you
Oh,
think
that's a
he
ploy.
already
The letter
knew?
was legit. What do you mean?
I thought
From John. No, that's a ploy. He knew that everyone
No, he
knows.
didn't know.
No, everyone knows that he's an
Everybody
abolitionist.
knows that
Everyone
he
knows.
is an
I
abolitionist.
know, but no, he didn't know that he was harboring any slaves there.
No, but he probably
he
knew
yeah,
because he was like Rosalie. They probably went. That's true.
He's
Because
like, this
everybody
is the
knows
first
the
stop because
brother
everyone knows
is
that
an
he's
abolitionist.
Yeah, everyone knows. It's well-known fact.
Right, but I didn't think so you guys think he just went there, that August just went there
Yeah,
to
because I was
see
like,
to
he doesn't
gather.
need the money. Because I was thinking, I'm like, he doesn't need money now because he's rich. So
He's like, look, is somebody in this town? If they came here, is somebody in this town that is harboring slaves? I already know this man is an abolitionist. This needs to be my
and he's
first
smart.
stop.
August is smart, so I think maybe it was a play.
maybe-
Ooh, I didn't even
And
see
he
that.
wasn't. And also, you know, he revealed the fact that they're kin. He wasn't sure if he knew that or not. That could, you know, are you
I
harboring your
guess
kin?
John doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, John
he
didn't know, but August didn't know if John knew or not.
Right.
I feel like he just wanted to get in the door. And then also, if you kind of looked at his reactions to what John was saying, like, oh, when the floor is kind of new, you could definitely tell that
Yeah, he
they
But,
knew.
see, but at that point, I thought it was because he had started suspecting something. His spidey senses were telling him something was off. But I didn't think initially that he came into the house to snoop
Well,
around.
Now that you remember when he comes up to him, he's like, "Hey, I need, I heard you," because I don't think his brother ever told him to go find him if you
No.
need help. Why would he tell? He knows his brother is against slavery.
Ooh.
So now that I think about
Everybody-
it, his brother wouldn't have told him to
Go to my abolitionist
abolitionist
brother
brother to help.
to help you find my slaves. No,
Yeah.
you never tell him that.
Yeah,
and
that does
but it's a
make sense.
well-known fact on
That he
almost
is, yeah,
every plantation
anybody-
that he's an abolitionist. Because remember, he got into it with Abbott, and Abbott was like, "You think we don't know that you're Tom Hawk's abolitionist brother?"
Right,
Yeah.
right. Faux show. So after he kills, the rest of the Patty Cannon gang, we see August, of course, is snooping around. And he gets the wire from Tom after asking him the questions like, you guys remodeled? Like, what's going on in here? And he finds the back entrance into the hideaway.
That was creepy. Like, he just comes from nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
That was creepy.
Right. So he finds it, of course, and they're down there. Rosalie runs out with Boo and goes with Liz, and we see that Kyle he was banging his head. Kyle. Rosalie smacked him in the face so good.
She punched him good. She's like,
Rosalie literally takes no mess no more.
Right.
Like,
she's a different person.
Ernestine's child. She taking off of Ernestine.
Right. That's 600 miles, honey. That's enough time to get you tough. Okay. And so of course that during this time we see that Tom is down below with Kyle, and of course he kills him. Tom has changed. Did I say Tom? Sorry, John. John has changed. He's still not the man that he was before. He's all about, preserving life and saying we don't need to kill people because they're slaves. We don't need to enslave them. And now look at him. He's killing somebody who's getting ready to mess up his entire, what he has going on here.
And he's still mad about him boinking us.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's real
mad about that.
He's big mad about that.
I think that's why he killed him. He's like, you shouldn't have done that, my friend.
Right.
You won't get another chance.
Right. It wasn't. Poor Kyle didn't have a chance. Kyle didn't have, even if he did make it out of there.
Kyle
his
was
life was over.
I can help.
No,
you helped Elizabeth.
You helped enough. I'm gonna let you simmer on that one.
Exactly. Right. And so the floor falls in, all this commotion happens, whatever. So we'll talk about Rosalie gets away with Boo and Liz. They're going to the abolitionist community where they're, it's not too far away. And Rosalie does something really honorable. She says, let me out, because there's no reason that Boo doesn't need to make it to freedom because of me. Yeah. He wants me. Let me get out. I think I'd have just been like, we just gonna see how far we could go, guys. And then if I see that I can't make it, I'll just jump out. Let's keep going.
He was so close though. They weren't gonna outrun him.
Right, because they're pulling more weight with this horse than he is on his horse.
He's behind them too, and there's
so his
more
horse is like going.
True indeed. But I still would have been like, hey guys, we're just gonna keep riding it out until
he scares me. I'll let him
Right. And so I like the exchange that he and Rosalie have together, because it shows a totally different Rosalie. She's very, she's at this point, she's like, kill me. Well, do what you got to do, brother, because I done worked so hard to get here. Like, do what you got to do. I'm not going to cower. I'm strong.
They say death is better than going back to the plantation.
Right.
Why did she tell him that she stabbed the little boy?
Because she's an honest person.
He wasn't trying to keep her. He just happened to, when she was hallucinating.
Right, but at this point,
she's not about to beg him.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
over this.
I felt like she was trying to appeal to his emotions.
I thought she was just trying to get him angry, because that's not true. She accidentally stabbed him.
I don't think that makes a difference. The point is, you stabbed my son. A little boy who is 12, you stabbed him, and now he'll never be able to walk.
For some reason, to me, I thought if she told him the truth, like, it was an accident, it was the hallucination.
What I mean,
like,
yeah.
Then he would have still been like, well, that's still your fault, because you're the reason why.
And then she would have been like, no, it's your fault.
But and that's the thing. She's at a point where she's like, you know what? I done did too much. I ran too far. Look, I did do that, and I'm sorry for that. But to be honest, it was not my fault. Your fault.
Put him here.
He didn't want to be here.
He let me lose. He never wanted to be there.
Right.
It's your fault.
I'm sad because I really wanted his character to be on the right side. For some reason, I don't know how many times Kato sat across from us and said, he's still a slave owner. He's still a slave owner, and he was trying to get you all to understand that. But
I still feel the same exact way, because I still am like, he's still a good guy. I still don't see him as a bad guy.
He's a slave owner.
You feel for his circumstance, and you feel
what circumstance? We found out that man is rich.
I know.
What you mean? But all the stuff that his life is not peachy. It's not great.
Well,
he
felt like
could have walked away and been fine.
I sympathize. I sympathize with him at the beginning of the season, but you're right. Towards the end, I'm not anymore. But you still kind of want him to do the right thing.
You want him to do the right thing, but we all knew he wasn't going to.
No, you knew that.
You knew that. We were
all like, he could be good, and that guy is not. He's not that bad of a situation. Jay is still a daggone slave.
What are you doing? That's not who. I don't know who's.
That's how y'all know. Kato was like, Alana Miller was like, he's still a slave owner. They're still slaves. Jay's still slave.
I just try to see the good in people.
Exactly, because there's multi-layers to everyone. You know what I'm saying? Everyone here. Nobody's technically good. Nobody's technically bad. I mean, you could argue the same thing about John Hawkes. He just killed a man. you know what I'm saying, and lied about his reputation.
And yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody's got their good and their bad moments.
Or you said about Ernestine.
I don't feel nothing for nobody but Ernestine.
Look.
She has her good and bad moments too. She didn't kill people.
She only has bad moments, y'all.
And she was like, we both going to hell. You was getting there sooner.
She has already decided her fate. She always has bad moments.
When you get to that moment in life, that means it's done. Like, you've done. When you're like, I'm going to hell, forget it.
She gave him the same treatment that he gave her son.
Yeah.
And if you know, I'm sure another parent will want to do the same. There are tons of parents out there who have lost a child due to some type of violence, and they wish they could do the same.
Right. So then, of course, we see that just in the nick of time, Liz comes back to help save Rosalie. She's got the gun, and then, of course, August tries to throw the knife.
You knew he was finna do something, too. You could see it in his eyes.
Right, and I was kind of wondering, like, okay, is Rosalie gonna shoot him? At this point, I was like, well, girl, you ain't got nothing else
You
left
have
to lose.
nothing. Yeah,
you got to shoot him.
It's you or him.
And it was such a gangster walk-off. Like, you see her, she was just kind of like...
Her
girl power.
Right, girl
Awesome.
I wrote that, too. Girl
I
power.
love that she told him, like, you want to hunt us down like animals? You're going to die
out here like an animal.
This.
For sure. And then we see, we think that's the last of August, but then we see that he actually wakes up in jail with Patty Cannon there, and she's like, slave catchers, we can do whatever we want. However, there's one rule: you don't kill white people. And so he's now in jail for killing her people.
For murder.
Which I still don't know how she found out, so somebody let me know.
That
Tweet
is
me.
how. Vern just tweeted. He was like, they knew that someone with knife skills killed the slave catchers alone.
I'm sure in the 1800s there's a lot of knife skills people.
Yeah, but he was the only one around. Drop it, Megan. Drop
I'm just saying.
Just drop it.
All right.
Don't let it consume you.
Right. So then there's a couple things that we find out that, of course, we see that Ernestine is getting sold. We see that, that's the last of Kyle that we know of. He gets pushed in the river. We also see that Kato is alive. Remember we said that? Kato's got to be alive.
We knew it. We knew Kato was going to still be alive.
Right. And then we also see that, what's his name? Noah isn't killed, but he's put in jail.
I be feeling so bad for Noah. Like,
right, but what did Patty Cannon say to him? Because she was like, I just need a name.
She said she was gonna let him free if
can't trust white people. Is that what it is?
He didn't trust. He knew
I know, but I'm saying,
But he knew that in order to save Rosalie, he needed to continue with this plan.
Right.
So he just gave her the name that they said they were gonna give.
Right, for sure. So then we also see that Rosalie is giving her story to William Still. They've made it. Her and Little Boo are the only two that have made it.
Almost shed one thug tear on that
Did
story.
you? Your thug tear.
Very sweet.
She went in on one part. She was like, and I was like, whoa, go,
felt it.
Go,
She was big. Journey was digging deep for them lines.
She did. She was giving a story of all of them making 7 and how she wanted Boo to have a better life, and about she was talking about Kato and Zeke, and it was so great that this was kind of the culmination of what had been going on. They're not forgotten. They're gone, but they're not forgotten, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So it's really dope that she was talking about that, but you also see here that she's like, I gotta go back. I'm like, well, go ahead, Harriet Tubman, only to find out that Harriet Tubman's gonna be helping
like, soon as she reached out her hand, wasn't I like, is that Harriet Tubman? And it was like, name's Harriet. It was like,
that's dope. I'm excited to see where season 2 goes, because to know that now you've got Harriet Tubman and Rosalie together, what?
And it seems like a completely, they could literally go somewhere completely different from the first season. Like, it can be completely different, because the first season was about them being slaves, and now it's like Rosalie is now coming back fighting and stuff, and there's just going to be so much different stuff.
It is, yeah. I'm excited. Okay, so let's get into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, who wants to start our last predictions of season 1?
No. Okay,
For
I'll
season
start.
2.
So I think that Ernestine is going to get sold to a random plantation, and that's the plantation that Rosalie is going to come back and try and help people from.
That's
so to
good.
kind of connect it. And then so that'll connect the stories, and then Rosalie will also help Noah escape.
Really?
Okay. Something different? Go ahead.
I think Kato's going to end up catching up to Rosalie in some way. I'm really hoping they get a little romance happening
I
there.
don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. That's kind of hot when I think about it. I'm
You're
like,
so
ooh.
sexually deprived. You are.
You know
Everything
what?
you talk about is
Excuse me.
I want more
ma'am.
steamy scenes, basically.
I don't know. For some reason, I really want to see them.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna have some anger in his heart.
Oh, for sure. I think
Well, she wasn't the one who left him. It was Noah.
But that's who Noah
And he
wants.
knew.
If he hurts her, he hurts Noah.
I mean, I think if he gets with her, it would be like hurting Noah too.
And that ain't gonna happen. I don't think Rosalie's sniffing that way.
Who knows? We'll see.
Yes.
I think that for season 2, I don't think it's gonna be about Harriet. I think it's gonna be telling the story of how many other people helped Harriet, how many other people did the same thing. So it's gonna like bring more history to light.
Right. Faux show. I think for the next season, I think Noah is gonna be. I think he's gonna go back to slavery. I think he's gonna go all the way back. I'm not sure where.
You think they're gonna? I think he's gonna get free somehow.
I mean, the hope is that he'll get free, but I don't know. I do want to see the anguish and the despair that comes with having to go all the way back. The 600 miles from whence you came.
That'd be funny if like Kato is the one who runs into Noah. It's like the carriage bringing Noah back or something
that
like
could
that.
happen.
And then Kato's like, No, but I think you would expect that. So I don't know. I kind of want to see Kato run into Rosalie instead.
We didn't address when Noah tells Rosalie that he did know who he wanted to come with the Macon 7.
Right.
Because he was using them to get there. And I think that was a really defining moment because now we see Noah's truth.
But here's the thing. I don't know if it is wanting, because he obviously wanted them to get free as well.
Yeah.
But they also had skills that would help him get
But
free.
ultimately, he was thinking about himself.
But I
And
mean,
Rosalie.
isn't that what everybody was doing to get free? Freedom is for yourself.
I think in the beginning he convinced himself that he wasn't, but he knew that that's
the denial.
ultimately what he was doing, using their talents
Kato was
and
the only
skills.
one. Yeah, Kato was the only one
And
to call
Kato
him on.
saw that. And Kato, we'll see those characters that have insight into the story. They see kind of what we see on the outside. So yeah.
Right. This is going to be so exciting.
Next season, be like, oh, house girl used you, huh?
Right, exactly. So we know that season 2 is going to be coming out in 2017. We have to wait another year, you guys.
That's crazy.
So far away.
I hate when it's so
far.
funny when they do that because the children, if there's children on the show, they hit
They have like,
growing
spray, yeah.
That creeps me out. Like I'm like, why is this
Like the
child
little boy on
James
Game of
is gonna-
Thrones. Like, yeah,
know
deep
what
voice
was
of like,
going
like,
on.
whoa.
It was weird.
Not ready.
I know. James is going to be like a real man
It's
in the
gonna
carpenter
creep me
shop.
out.
Like talking like, hello, everyone.
He's gonna hit a growth spurt and be like 6 feet tall from this little boy.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be sad. So we're so sad, you guys, but let's keep the conversation going. Make sure you watch all of the episodes of WGN's Underground. You can watch our recap right on our YouTube channel, AfterBuzz's YouTube channel. Subscribe to that faux show. We love you guys. Where can we find you?
I'm Jamie Banks, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JamieBanks_. And I just want to say thank you and shout out to Tamala B, T. Alice, Rain, Speak Up Now Girl, Chan Nicole, and Chesley. You guys are awesome, and so is everyone else who watched. Thank you so much.
And
All right,
Vern,
and
we
where-
don't forget about you.
And Vern. And where else can we find you on AfterBuzz?
Oh, and also on the Below Deck Med show on Tuesdays.
There you go.
I'm Lina Green. You can find me at just Lina Green on Twitter, Facebook, not the Instagram, not my Snapchat though.
And where else can we see you on?
On here.
Are you doing any other shows for AfterBuzz? Okay.
Thanks a lot, Megan.
Sorry. I'm not either.
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all those good things at I am Gary Thomas, and of course, I am GaryThomas.com. I'm going on a 3-month hiatus.
He taking vacation.
Bye.
Just like Underground, he taking vacation. He gonna be back till 2017, y'all. And you can find me, Megan Thomas, at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat, everywhere on the internet. You can also find me on AfterBuzz TV's sister station, Black Hollywood Live. I host a show there called Next, where I interview up-and-coming artists, up-and-coming actors that you need to know. And Alano Miller was just on there. He plays Mr. Cato. So check that out on Black Hollywood Live. We love you guys. We cannot wait until the season comes back for season 2 next year. Until then, guys, we'll see you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you later.
Until next season.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.